takeaways from the Chicago Bears versus the Cowboys game next on the Unbearable Sports Podcast.
Yeah, she's got some nice long
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Barron. Welcome in and happy Halloween. I just finished up some trick-or-treating with the kiddos. I was going as Baymax and my son was going as Hero. So if you guys are big Hero 6 fans, let me know. Not a lot of people know what we were, but the people that did loved it. But guys, I hope you had a safe, happy Halloween. And also going around trick-or-treating in our neighborhood, they were handing out beers. I live in a little small town neighborhood, and it was a blast. So unfortunately, the Bears lost. So we're going to be breaking down this loss. But honestly, I don't feel terrible. And neither do I think you guys should feel bad either. So the defense didn't play well, but the offense, I felt, played great. So that's really what we're going to be breaking down. And my 10 takeaways, I got 6 offensive takeaways and 4 defensive takeaways because, guys, the offense looked good. Defense, yeah, not good. But make sure to like and subscribe if you are new here. And also, if this is the first time you're listening, welcome to the family. Welcome to Unbearable Sports. And hopefully you like what you see, but like, subscribe, and you can download the podcast everywhere you get your podcast. So guys, shall we get into this? So the Chicago Bears lose 49-29 to the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas to drop to 3-5. We are 1-4 playing away. And overall, we had 131 total passing yards, 240 rushing yards. But the story, unfortunately, was on the defensive side of the ball, where we gave up 242 passing yards and 200 rushing yards on the ground. 6.9 yards per carry this defense gave up. Yikes, right? Not great overall. But let's start going through this. I like what Jake Capone says out here. Brisker did well. Justin is him. I agree with that. And get N'Keal Harry going more. That dude is big. That guy is huge. If anyone went to training camp, I suggest everybody go to training camp. When you see N'Keal Harry on the field, whew, that dude is big. That guy is an enormous mammoth of a man. That's how you knew that he was a first-round talent. But we talked about him a little bit on the pre-show, saying that he's a bigger guy. Can we get him involved? And lo and behold, he gets his touchdown. So let's go into the offensive takeaways. Now, overall offensive takeaways, I want to first break down takeaway number 1, right? I want to just bring this up. This is our second straight good game against a good defense. So a lot of people out here think that this Dallas team is the best defense in the entire league, right? We put up 29 points against them. They only allowed 8 touchdowns in 7 games. But look at us, guys. We scored 4 touchdowns against them. No matter what happens, yes, the defense was bad. But, guys, let's look at this offense. That the story of defense, I feel like we can just sign people this offseason, right? We just sign some people, make this team better. But this offense, this is about number 1. Like what Jake Capone was saying, Justin looked like him, right? Justin looked good. Justin played very well. And my second takeaway, I'm just going to jump to it. My second takeaway is the QB run game is here to stay, right? We were curious, is this just a 1-week thing versus the New England Patriots? No, we saw a couple designed runs, one going in for a touchdown. We saw a little bit of less designed QB runs, but still, Justin Fields played well. 8 carries, 60 yards, 7.5 yards a carry. Very good stuff from QB1, right? But this seriously is another good game for this offense. Now, Justin Fields, 17 for 23, 151 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Now, here's what stands out to me. And when we were watching this game, someone said to me, they're like, well, Justin Fields, he's not pushing the ball downfield. And to me, I was totally fine with that. Why? Because we talked about this before. Justin Fields loves to throw it downfield. I felt this game he threw quicker, he threw shorter passes, which was great, right? It wasn't like every pass was short, every pass was that. It felt better. What's good is you're seeing him progressively get better and better as a leader, better as a quarterback. And I feel like because you have a very heavy run game focus, it allows him to, like we talked about with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was not an accurate passer right out of college and was not a great passer out of college. And it just took him years to get used to that. And now he's a good passer. But when you're running the football with them, it frees him up a little bit more to make some of these passes. So I like the offense, liked what we were doing. Yet again, we put 29 points up against arguably the best defense in the NFL. Fine with that. On the road, too, need I say, right? Good offensive production, especially when we say we don't have the horses, we don't have the wide receivers, we don't have the line. 29 points, guys. Good offensive production. Let's go, right? Let's go with that production. I'll take it any day. Wish we could convert some some 2-point conversions, but that's a different story. But 4 touchdowns, I'll take it. Let's go down to my third takeaway. Now, guys, I want to bring this up because I want to know what you all think. Is Khalil Herbert better than David Montgomery? My third takeaway is Khalil looks better than David Montgomery. And Monty, he's so flashy. He's running around. And I think Monty is a better all-around runner, right? He can block better, he can receive better. But every time Herbert gets that ball, guys, he looks good. He's running with it. He's breaking tackles. And this is another game. 6.2 yards a carry. That's great. That's phenomenal. And he backs that up while David Montgomery, 15 carries, 53 yards. What do you think? Am I right? Is Herbert better? Because right now, Herbert is showing he is a ferocious runner. He can run the football. He can pound the rock. He had more carries than David Montgomery this game. 16 to the 15. 16 carries, 99 yards, 1 touchdown, 6.2 average for Khalil Herbert. David Montgomery, 15 carries, 53 yards, and 3.5 average. That's a big difference. That's a big difference in production. And I know some people say, well, David Montgomery, he gets the hard yards, right? He runs right up the middle, so you can't fully, it's not apples to apples, which is a decent comparison. But if everyone knows that Khalil Herbert's going to be running outside to the left, why don't they stop him, right? It just takes a little bit of game film to say that's what they always do, right? But Herbert pounds it. Herbert's got a little extra motor to him, and he's not flashy, but he gets the job done. Khalil Herbert, I'm hoping he gets more carries, even though I do have David Montgomery in one of my fantasy leagues. Herbert looks to be the better running back, and I really like him, and we have him for 3 more years, including this one, right? I love it. It's better to see him performing than a David Montgomery, just because Montgomery, last year of his contract, we'll see if he ends up getting moved. Yet again, very highly unlikely he's going to get moved before the November 1st deadline, but still something to at least be on the lookout for, since some teams might still want a running back. But let's go to my fourth takeaway. So fourth takeaway, this one definitely is not that sexy at all. Alex Leatherwood is a reserve. Now, there's also other pieces on this line that I do want to touch base on about the reserves. But I know there's been a lot of, well, what is Alex Leatherwood, right? He got activated. So a lot of, is he going to be the right tackle, or is Riley Reiff going to be the right tackle? Now, Riley Reiff, let's just say, looked exactly the part, right? He didn't look terrible, didn't look bad, didn't look great. He looked solid. That's why you get a veteran that can play left or right tackle. Very good signing for the Bears, and you saw it pay dividends today when you lose your starting right tackle in Larry Borum. He did not play, and you have Riley Reiff play well at that right tackle position. But Alex Leatherwood, he's a reserve, right? We saw Tevin Jenkins go down, was a little banged up. Definitely got to monitor his injury situation. But Tevin Jenkins, when he went down, I thought it was interesting that Leatherwood has primarily played tackle, but I still felt like they might have wanted to put him at the guard spot. So I felt by putting in Dieter Iselin as the right guard and as center in garbage time spoke a lot about Alex Leatherwood, just confirming what we've been saying on this show that he is a reserve. He's not going to be coming in trying to take anyone's job. We have a lot of guaranteed money in Alex Leatherwood. In our best interest, we just got to keep him on the bench. We got to just train him. We got to make him better and build up that confidence because in Las Vegas, he was not good. But let's go on. Like I said, Reef was decent, Leatherwood most likely reserve. But let's go to wide receiver number 2, which is N'Keal Harry. Jake Capone mentioned this in the comments. N'Keal Harry, number 2. N'Keal Harry, he's going a little bit more. He played 49 snaps, which was second most among wide receivers. Of course, Darnell Mooney, number 1. Now, this could be because EQ St. Brown went down with an injury, but then was able to come in a little bit. And Harry does seem to be kind of that EQ replacement. But still, he got bulk of the snaps. He's also big. He was able to line up as the tight end. So on the big touchdown run, he was a good blocker out there because dude's a big guy. Also, he got a touchdown catch and was targeted twice, had 2 catches for 24 yards and a touchdown. Now, one thing too, just to kind of bring this up, Dante Pettis was number 3 in targets, and Dante Pettis 5 targets, or third in snaps, but had 5 targets, 4 catches for 18 yards. So not great. But N'Keal Harry, it's good to see him getting a little bit more involved. He's also someone that can play a little bit more in that slot. Honestly, I hope that Darnell Mooney, N'Keal Harry, and EQ St. Brown end up being kind of your 1, 2, 3 at that wide receiver position because Dante Pettis just has not looked that great. Really hasn't been that good. So that's, to me, Mooney, Harry, and EQ St. Brown, but it was nice to see him get going a little bit more. The only other thing that I'll mention a little bit about these wide receivers as well is, and I forgot to add this, I only do 10 takeaways, so this is kind of my little cheat takeaway, but Velus Jones Jr. is a weapon, right? We've been saying this since day one. I know that there's been a lot of shows that are like, he's going to be the starter, he's going to be the starting slot. Velus Jones is a weapon. That we've been saying this. He's Cordero Patterson. Ever since they drafted him, he's been Cordero, and every day that we see him, he plays like Cordero Patterson. You see him in a lot of the end arounds. He's got great speed. When he got the ball in his hands, he's making moves. He's reading his blocks. He's setting up his blockers. He understands that. He understands where people need to be. He does very well with that. The biggest question, still when he was coming out, is he a wide receiver? Because he's got the speed, he's got the juice, right? He's got the juice. But unfortunately, we just haven't seen that. So Velus Jones Jr. needs to get he's going to be a weapon, and that's what I'm feeling. So also thanks, Bam Bam Sam. Thank you so much. The baby's over a week old now. It's a little crazy, but we were walking around trick-or-treating with the family. It was a good time. But let's go to my final offensive takeaway. My final offensive takeaway, number 6. Braxton Jones is getting better, guys. Let's celebrate. Right? We always do our weekly claps. This is our claps of the week, right? Braxton Jones only let up 3 hurries against the best defensive pass rush duo in the league. Like we were talking about before the show, it was 5% better. They pressured the quarterback 5% better than any other defensive line out there. And Braxton Jones let up three hurries, right? That's great. That's absolutely phenomenal. Played well. Great run blocker. This is what you want to see. You see them getting better and better and better. Just progressively moving along. So Braxton Jones, phenomenal. Phenomenal to see him playing well out there. And this is why, we knew it was going to be a little bit painful at the beginning, But still, there's still probably going to be some painful Braxton Jones weeks, and there's some people chipping, right? Some people helping other people out. So it wasn't like it was just one-on-ones all game. But still, Braxton Jones played very well, and I want to give him a shout out because my dad and I were watching the game going, you see? You see that? You see when they're running on the left-hand side? Why they love running on the left-hand side? Braxton Jones is fast, he's big, and really has been a steal for the Chicago Bears late in the draft. So absolutely love it, guys. What do you feel about this offense? Now, I don't really have any hot takes this week. Like I said, I still haven't gone fully on Twitter yet. So it's been nice. It's nice to keep a clear head without a lot of frustration going on, a lot of smack talk going on. But really, I feel good after this game because of the offense. Like I said, offense, it's all about Justin Fields. Fields looked good. He was able to do well. But yeah, defensive side, not so great. But Bam Bam Sam, I like this take. So I like Valus, but dropping the ball consistently or constantly is not helping him get the ball in his hands. Exactly. And that's something that I forgot to mention. Great. Thank you so much for bringing this up. That overall, he's dropping the ball, right? We saw it. They throw it to him and he just kind of bobbled it, right? 3 targets, 1 reception. When they threw it to him, kind of bobbled it up in the air. Now, that's not what you want to see because you need to be constant. You need to be a consistent person that if I throw you the ball, you catch it. And right now, every time he touches the ball, he drops it. Because remember what happened? Justin Fields bombs it deep. Perfect. Right on the money to Valus Jones. Beautiful throw. Drop. Right? That's not what you want to see out of your wide receiver. You don't want to see that out of them because now the consistency, the feel good about this wide receiver, you don't get that, especially because you have a quarterback that it's difficult for him to throw it to someone that's being contested. He needs to know that you're going to get the ball. You're going to hang on to it. And Valus is not doing it. All right. Right. He's not doing anything. But yeah, Tiff says Valus needs to be on practice squad. Not sure about that. Probably someone would probably try to pick him off, but yeah, he's got a bad case of the butterfingers. I agree, Mr. Mayhem. But yeah, it's good. I feel so bad, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the Bears end up doing. But guys, let's move on to this defensive side of the ball, unfortunately. So if you have a beer, drink it. As we're going over to the defensive side of the football, ladies and gents, let's go over here. We got our 4 defensive takeaways. I didn't even want to do 4 defensive takeaways, but we have to do it. And my first defensive takeaway is I don't want to hear this from anybody. I don't blame the woes on no Quinn, right? I don't want to blame. I know that there's probably some people out there that want to say that Robert Quinn not being out there, see, this is why you don't trade him. He was a veteran. He was holding the team together. This was just bad. It was a bad game out there. Bam Bam Sam, I agree with you. They out-schemed us. They talked about it. They were throwing it into the holes of the defense. They were just outplaying us. The offensive line was dominating, just plowing people over. The linebacker play for the Bears was poor. That's why they put in our boy, Jack Sanborn was out there, but still not even the great Jack Sanborn could prevent the Bears from giving up so many yards on the ground, 200 yards on the ground, 6.9 yards average. Tony Pollard, 14 carries, 131 yards, 9.4 average, and 3 freaking touchdowns. Like, it just looked bad. And I don't know about you guys. I was watching the game going, just get to halftime, right? Because Allen Williams works his magic. Then all of a sudden, we stop people from scoring. That didn't happen. 14 points first quarter, 14 points second quarter, 14 points third quarter, and 7 points in the fourth. Not good. Not good. Not good at all. But I still don't blame the woes on no Quinn being out there because I know that there was one play where they kind of ran this option and then you had Dak Prescott go to the outside left. bad play on, I believe it was Dominique Robinson that was on there. I could be wrong by that. But honestly, Robert Quinn wouldn't make that play either. He would have probably overcommitted. That's the only bad part, right? That's the only thing. And we have somebody who started Pollard over Monty. Makes sense. Makes sense. You probably won your game. But also, I want to just kind of call this out too. Tony Pollard, my takeaway number 8. Tony Pollard is better than Zeke. We talked about this in the preview. Even though this has nothing to do with the Bears, ladies and gents, Tony Pollard just was great. We do better against the bigger, more physical running backs, the smaller, shiftier running backs. We do have a problem with. It might be the speed. It might be trying to get to a spot that we just don't get there, right? There's a couple plays where I was looking, and yet again, my dad and I were watching this going, Nicholas Morrow, run to the guy. And he's just kind of jogging out there. You're like, dude, just run to the outside. The guy's clearly running to the out. It was like an end around. You're like, get to the spot, Morrow. But he wasn't, right? And same thing happened again this week. Another week where we have Armon Watts in the middle, have a good defensive play, and then kind of go MIA for the rest of the game. Armon Watts, still a good player, not saying he's bad, but you want to see a little bit more out of that defensive interior. But my 9th takeaway, it says a lot about how a team performed when your safeties are both the leading tacklers. Eddie Jackson, 11 tackles. Jaquan Brisker, 9 tackles. Roquan Smith, your all-pro, greatest linebacker of all time, 5 tackles. Roquan Smith, we talked about this. You need to keep stacking games up, right? You need to keep stacking good games if you want to get paid. But unfortunately, he just didn't play well out there, guys. This was not a good game for him. And Nicholas Morrow, 5 tackles as well. Kendall Vildor, 5 tackles. They were attacking Vildor today. And maybe it was the orange uniforms that turned him into a pumpkin again. But he had a bad game. They wanted to attack him. But I feel like it was more they wanted to attack whoever that right side corner was just really quickly. They did that when they switched him out. When they switched Vildor out with Kyler Gordon, they still attacked him the exact same way. They didn't care what it was. They wanted to at least attack that matchup with Michael Gallup out there. But honestly, not great out there. So yeah, we shall see. But let's go over to my last takeaway, because I don't even want to talk about the defense too much anymore. My last defensive takeaway. I literally just kept this the exact same from last week. The defensive backfield is developing, right? This is kind of the storyline every week. Jaquan Brisker should have had CeeDee Lamb on that touchdown pass, right? I think it was CeeDee Lamb. He was playing off of him. It was difficult too, and this is where the offensive scheme was great. Because when I rewatched it, you saw someone that was kind of going to the outside. So Brisker was thinking, well, I'm going to stick to my outside because he's kind of run this little post. I'm going to stick out there, right? And because he was sticking out there, because he was playing loose, Dak was like, all right, well, right here, it's perfect. They talked about it throughout the game. They dissected this zone defense. They saw someone, and they ran 2 perfect little routes, and it forced them to have a little hole, and Dak just attacked that. They played great, right? This offense played great against our defense. And really, this is a learning opportunity. I know a lot of people say burn the tape, right? This team cannot afford to burn any tape. When we put bad tape out there, watch it and watch it again. See how they attacked you, because someone else is going to see this and say, so that's how you beat this defense, right? That's how you beat this scheme. Let's attack them that way. But yeah, I agree with Reload out here too. Defensive line looks a little bit poor, but I will say I really like not having Robert Quinn out there. It's not really anything about Robert Quinn. It's more so that we have our young guys out there. We have Kingsley Jonathan, who played a little bit, didn't look great, but still you have younger talent that you're going to build the team around. And now you can truly evaluate those defensive ends and say, all right, is Travis Gibson the guy, or do we have to bring someone in? Is Al-Qadim Muhammad going to be the guy, or do we have to bring someone in? Same thing with Dominique Robinson. Do we feel confident that he can grow after this year? But also, it's not unbearable sports without going through the special teams. So the only special teams little review that I'm going to go through today is who returned the kicks, right? Bayless was returning kicks. We talked about on the preview. That's what we were going to do. That's what we would suggest. And the Bears did just that. The punt return duties was still Dante Pettis. Now, Pettis, he's not as explosive as, say, a Bayless Jones. But if you have that consistency, I'd rather just have Pettis returning the punts. And hopefully, Bayless, you work his confidence back, cure him of the yips, and then hopefully he can then start returning punts again. Good move. I like that they did that. Just wanted to see him field a little bit more of those kicks. He let a lot go, and it always seems like this Bears special teams normally would return those. So if I'm the Bears, I'm saying return that next time, right? Get that next time. Because if you fumble it, you're already in the end zone. It's already going to be a touchback. You're good, right? But that's my only little takeaway besides Cairo Santos being money. And Turpin had a good return at one time for 13 yards, but still we were able to hold him. No touchdowns from the special teams unit. So overall, good performance for the special teams, especially Trenton Gill punting it around that person. Total luck, but still counts, right? Still counts, ladies and gentlemen. Good play all around for the special teams unit. Guys, we're 3-5. Now, are we hoping that we tank and we get a better draft pick? To me, not really. the NFC is still wide open. We could still make a playoff run. Not even going to think that we're going to be a playoff team, but we could still potentially do something big time. The biggest piece, we've talked about this, day one, week one, preseason, off season. This isn't about wins and losses. This is about the offense. This is about number one. And ladies and gents, we can all firmly say Justin Fields had a great day. He had a great game today. He's stacking up good performances. Let's keep this going, right? Good defense. Now, next week, I believe we're going against the Dolphins. Dolphins, still solid defense, but not as great as the last two that we faced. It's going to be a great week. Make sure to stay tuned. Make sure to like. Make sure to subscribe. We're going to do another preview episode Thursday night, so stay tuned. Mark your calendars, and Unbearable Sports Podcast, we're out.
Yeah, she's got some nice